The finished product is almost weedless because the tip of the hook is embedded into the back. But when the fish bites down, it exposes the hook and it'll get hooked up. When properly made like this, you notice as long as you keep the lure straight, that means that the whole setup will not spin or helicopter to the water, and the lead weight on the shank will cause this lure to go straight. The reason you have the lead on the bottom is to cause this hook to run straight. The lead acts like a keel. So what it does is it won't allow the lure to helicopter or spin around in the water. It'll make it track straight and true. Good morning, guys. This is Scuba Chris in the backyard. I want to show you these beautiful Havoc swim baits. They are the Chartreuse Shad. Now, these shads look like our juvenile goatfish here in Hawaii, which we call awhile. You can see the coloration is virtually identical, except that it doesn't have the black spot near the tail. You can always add it in if you're a perfectionist and you just want to put in a little black dot there. Now, how do you present these in the water? All right. We use the owner Twistlocks. Now, what makes Twistlock so unusual and so special is the Twistlock Pigtail, as you can see here. Now, the pigtail has a very sharp tip to it, which makes this different from all others. Is instead of trying to work your way in, the sharp pigtail here will dig its way in. Now, you're going to put this on this type of owner. It's more like a keeled hook, because what's going to do is going to allow the hook to travel straight instead of turning all over the place because of the 1/16 ounce weight on the shank. Okay, so how do we do this? Get your pigtail, go to the very tip of the nose. Okay, we're going to poke it in. We're going to start it up. I'm going to twist it on. Okay. Now you don't want to twist it all the way, so it's gonna be just snugging up to the eye of the hook. You want it so it's gonna dangle like that. All right. So let's see. And you want this part, the hook, to have access to the belly. Okay. You see that? How it has access to the belly? I'm gonna line it up now. See where the bend is? Right there. I'm gonna mark that off, so it's gonna be in between the two sets of anal fins here. All right, now that I know that, I'm gonna go to the bottom. Now, you wanna line this up perfectly, because if you line this up, like say in the middle of the body, when you have it all on this, it's all gonna be twisted up, and when this is twisted up, it's gonna start helicoptering, so you don't want that. So, we're going to put this hook on the bottom where it's going to be in between the two anal fins. Now, this is the 3-inch. If you get the 5.5, you really don't have to worry too much about this, because it's going to have a slit in the bottom for you to do this, that you can go up the slit. But the 3-inch, you're going to have to poke your own hole. That's it. That's all you have to do. See, now, when it's running through the water, this is like what you call weedless or near weedless. When you bring this up, see right here? There's the hook tip. Now, the hook tip is fairly buried, like so. Now, when the fish bites down, see, it exposes the tip right there. Alrighty? Now, when you run this, there's different ways of running this. Now, you can, okay, get your line, tie your line here, you go out, and you can, most people will use eggs. So what I like to use, I pre-mark my eggs, what weights they are, because sometimes they don't have the writing on the eggs. Now this one does have the writing on the eggs, but I just thought I would just write it down anyway. Or you can use floats. Now this is a Tough Bubble by Rainbow Plastics. Tough Bubble means is that when you throw this out and it hits the water or it hits a rock, that most likely it's not going to break. It's a Tough Bubble because it's a much thicker plastic. Now what I've done is I've taken a clear Tough Bubble and I put BBs in it, regular BBs for BB guns, and I like to use about 1.5 ounce. 1.5 ounce means that when I throw this out, it's going to sink, but it's going to sink so slow, it's going to go boop, 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 real slow. So when I'm chugging this along the surface, it's going to make that noise. Now, I've already done an experiment with this, and I found that I can catch fish. I mean, normally they're jacks, but jacks will hit this because that sound will attract fish when you do that, okay? Now, another thing you can use, in Hawaii, we have these things called hammer bombs made by Bill Newton. Now, these hammer bombs are subsurface. When you hit the surface, it will slowly sink, but you can chug it through the surface. And it's going to make a disturbance, which is going to attract other fish, and you're going to have this right behind it, okay? Now, there's another one called a unleaded hammer bomb, which means that it will float really, really good on the surface. Not floating like something that's inflated, but it will float to the point where it will take a long time to sink, but it's called unleaded. Now, if you go at night, we have this thing called, this is also a hammer bomb, but it's called a flash bomb. And this is why it's called a flash bomb. See that? It's flashing. So at night, this will attract the nocturnal species to come after your lure. So this is what you have to do to use this type of swim bait. Now, this is something that most people in Hawaii don't use because this is more of a bass type of lure. We don't have too many freshwater areas on this island where there's a lot of bass. But I'm going to try it here, see if it works over here. And I'm pretty sure it does. I mean, fish are fish. They're going to be hungry. They're going to look at a hey, that's good to eat. And they're going to whack it. Right? So let's give this a try. Thanks.